Hello and welcome to Backlinking, the PKM podcast. In today's podcast episode, we are jumping into something I've been really interested in for a long time, but I haven't really found an application that fits what I want in this niche of note taking and productivity apps. We are talking about visual productivity applications, things like MyMind, Millnote, Cosmic, Napkin, Affine, Heptabase, Grintol. There are many. Kinopio is another one. And I've tested out, I think, most of them at this point. I haven't found one I really like. I'm currently trying out Cosmic um, because I have what I will call a really specific use case, or at least like yeah, let's just call it a really specific use case because I think that I am not necessarily a visual person. I like visual note-taking applications because I do a lot of visual work. I have to design stuff and make stuff all the time, and I like visual note-taking apps for that. I've never really been into things like mind mapping, for example. I've never really liked that. I have started to do it a little bit more. But these visual note-taking apps, there are a couple of things I really like about them. The first thing is, of course, that they are visual. The second thing is that I really like being able to combine images and um, text together and arrows and connect different things together. So I kind of like that idea, or at least I think I like that idea. Um, and there are quite a few, and I've tested out a bunch. And today we are discussing the state of like visual note-taking apps because we had some visual ones like Milanote is starting to get really old. I think Milanote next year will be around 10 years old. So Milanote has actually been around for a long time, and you can see that in the product. Nothing wrong with Milanote. I'm a big fan of it, but like a lot of the newer applications, especially built after like 2022 or built early 2021, is like set up with a lot of AI stuff and is like, let's call it AI ready. Milanote isn't, and also it lacks a lot of the PKM tools that we see in more modern, newer applications like backlinking, tagging cards. They are actually adding tag to cards currently. It's not out yet, but I know that that is something they are working on. At least that's what they've said in their subreddit. So we have things like tags, AI stuff, a lot of things missing, and also I'm not the biggest fan of search inside of Milanote, but I have a few things I like about it. It is probably the best one if you work in design, for example. Because it has a lot of cool like design features, but the main thing I like is the ability to add or upload Adobe Illustrator files. And I also like the fact that it is sort of a blend between a note-taking app and an all-in-one application. And I am a really big fan of like all-in-one applications. Or at least currently I am. I've been a little bit back and forth with, but with the rise of AI, I think having all of your contacts in one place or having something like a good MCP server is probably a substitute for that. But currently I'm trending more towards all-in-one applications. So I like Milnote for that, but it is starting to get a little old. The other application that came out really early was My Mind. My Mind is around 6 years old. I think I saw one of the founders publish a tweet or an X. Is it still? We had this discussion at in one of my videos. I won't go back to that, but he published something on X about it being like 6 years ago they started My Mind, and My Mind is one of these AI first applications. They don't talk about AI that much any longer because at this point every application has AI, probably except for Milanote. But most applications have added some sort of AI. And my mind is more of like where all of these other or many of these other visual note taking apps are basically whiteboards or give you the ability to use whiteboards. My mind is a little different. My mind is more like Pinterest. Imagine a Pinterest, a private Pinterest board without any ads or any social media features. That is probably what my mind is. It is like if Pinterest was a note-taking app, it would be my mind. It has features like OCR. It has amazing search. It is so fast. It has great performance. I haven't added too many things. I think like my biggest my mind profile at some point had around 800 cards, and it still performed really well. It is visually stunning. I love their different like types of things. So an exposed actually turns into an exposed and has like its own way of being, while a note card is a note card, a movie turns into a movie, a book is a book, and if you click on a book, you can get like page numbers, ESBN number, and a lot of cool stuff. So they've added a lot of like fun, beautiful animations without bloating the application and making it really slow. They have the top of mind feature, they have markdown support, they have a lot of cool stuff, but they lack in versatility. Like for my mind to work, I need to think inside of the boundaries of my mind. I need to like think in search terms and just writing things into the application. And it might feel a little chaotic for some people. Like a lot of people might find it looking really chaotic. I love it. It is one of my favorite applications. The only problem I have is that I collaborate a lot, and having to take something out of my mind and placing it into another application takes a little bit of effort, but that isn't the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that I then often have to like pay for two separate applications, which annoy me. Um, and currently, like I can't offer paying premium to two different applications. Maybe in the future, but I really like the application, and it also works as a read it later application. And I actually agree with the fact that where you place all of your ideas, thoughts, and things like that, it shouldn't have any social or sharing features. And in an ideal world, I would probably go for that. But it is just too expensive, coming in at 12.99 each month. It is a premium. Will have to pay for something like my mind. So that covers my mind for you. The next like application I am thinking of is these two like writing applications, and I'm of course thinking about Scrintl and Heptabase. I will come back to Scrintl. Heptabase is clearly the best for writing things. If you are a researcher or you write a lot of notes and you're looking for a Zettelkasten system, like there isn't a better application than a Heptabase currently. You have a whiteboard, you can place cards on top of your whiteboard. There isn't much to be said about Heptabase. It is just really good. I don't have anything to add on top of that. And the only issue is that it doesn't work as well with images. It works with images, but it doesn't work as well. And for someone who mainly wants the visual aspect for images and not necessarily text, Heptabase falls a little bit short. But clearly, right now, Heptabase is the winner of the visual note-taking space, at least when it comes to text-based note-taking. The other option was Squintle, and honestly, I have no idea what Squintle is trying to become. They had the same idea as Heptabase to start out. That was the first version of Squintle. Then they changed it and they came out with this huge update called Playground for the Mind, where they reworked a lot of stuff. They used a bunch of influencers to publish it. And I am extra annoyed at Squintle because I actually pay for the yearly plan, and I'm really unhappy with what I've gotten. And I will explain it because all I need, all I need is a mobile capture app. A way for me to take up my Android phone, previously my iPhone, but currently my Android phone, write something and capture it. It doesn't have to go into one of my whiteboards. It could go into an inbox for all I care about. I just need the ability to capture something. And I haven't had that in Milanote in the first version, not in the playground for the mine. And instead of giving me a mobile capture application, they went ahead and created something called Gobu. Gobu is AI. Let me try to explain this easily, because it isn't that easy. Gobu is Squintle with AI, a lot of cool AI stuff, something researchers might really like. I don't know a lot of researchers, and I don't know any researchers that use Squintle, but I understand that it might be something they are a really big fan of. Uh, the only like I've had one researcher comment on the Squintle video that he or she was or the person was really unhappy the with with the direction that Squintle is going in. I'm trying to like find the right words to describe this, because on one hand, I am really angry. On the other hand, I understand that you want to chase this AI stuff, but so now we basically have two applications. We have Squintle, we have Gobu. Squintle is the note-taking app. Gobu is the AI stuff. They actually work together. So if you can add your things from Squintle into Gobu, and things inside of Gobu actually goes inside of Squintle, which makes me wonder. There might be a technical reason for this, but why isn't Gobu and the AI stuff inside of Squintle? Just something I'm wondering about. Why isn't Gobu inside of Squintle? Has been a question I've asked myself several times. There might be a technical reason for this, but I haven't like figured out why that is. I think the fact that they removed their paid plan, or their monthly paid plan, you can now only pay yearly, was annoying, but that is okay because Reflect does it as well. But it is the fact that they did that with the combination of all of the other stuff, because they did one other thing as well, and they closed their Slack community, which is probably the most annoying part. I understand that a team might not have the ability to like run a community the way they want it to, but they should be able to, when they close their community, to actually talk to the users or the people in the community about what the issue is, and why they are closing the community. I'm spending a lot of time around Squintle. I should probably do a whole episode just on Squintle, because I have so many thoughts about it. Um, and another reason, like, I'm really annoyed at this community stuff is they have this like invite portal where you can get gifts for inviting people to Scribble. I have a YouTube audience, so I've just used the links because they also gave you a free trial, and I've used the links in my YouTube descriptions, because then people would get free trials instead of having to pay for the applications before the application before you got to use it. This was back when it was in an early stage before it was fully out. And when people accepted your invites, you got points, let's call them points, and at some point you would be invited to a private Slack community. That never happened, and it had like images like one invite gives you this, two invites give you this, three, four, five. And from 2 and beyond, they didn't actually have any plans out yet or any rewards out yet. It was just saying rewards will come or something like that. And I just never heard anything about it, and I'm not necessarily annoyed about not getting rewards for me personally. I don't actually care about the rewards, but it is all of this combined together, and I'm uh, using the rewards and the closing of the community and the Go Boost stuff together because I had to go out and make a video on whether or not Scrintl is still living, which it is. They are continuing to develop Scrintl because the team behind Scrintl didn't put out anything about it, and they closed their community. And I got a lot of comments under my Scrintl videos. So I made a video about it. But things like that really annoy me. Bad communications really annoy me, especially when the product is good, which Squirtle is. It might have something to do with me working in communications, but bad communication really annoys me. And getting AI features and a whole nother AI app before I get a mobile application. Like a web version would be okay at this point. A web capture application. I have tried it on the phone with the web version. Not as good as I wanted it to be. Like just a mobile friendly, really good web version. That's all I want at this point. Squintle isn't giving me that, and it is so annoying. Enough about Squintle. That covers the two like text-based one. The third text-based one, which I am not including when I'm talking about Squintle and Heptabase, because this is different, like a lot different, is a fine. A fine is Notion, basically, but it can turn into a whiteboard, and the changes you do in the whiteboard also happens in your documents. Great idea, amazing application, big fan, open source, love it, love everything about it, love the pricing, just love the application. But it probably isn't for everyone because it comes with a learning curve, and there is still a lot of improvements on the page side of things. I really like the whiteboard side of things, but the page side of things needs a little bit of an improvement. So that was a fine for you. I will do a deep dive when we are closer towards the end of the year on my YouTube channel, where I actually go through all of these things on my PC so you can see stuff and I can mention stuff, but that is more of an end of year video. I just wanted to do a podcast, and I know that there are more people listening to this podcast than watching it. So I try to not have too many things or anything actually on my screen. I try to explain things to the best of my ability. Uh, there are currently a couple of new ones that I wanted to touch on. We have Cosmic, we have Space Duck. That is the two main ones. Space Duck is really interesting, but I feel like it has too many buttons. Like there is too much happening. It is basically imagine Milanote and My Mind combined together. That is what it is. It has the project management features of Milanote, even better project management features, and it is currently at a really early stage, so it needs a lot of polish, and I'm hoping that a lot of the polish will fix the application. But I am a big fan of it. It allows you to clip things, auto tag things. It allows you to chat with your notes and have a research assistant. It has a great PDF reader. It has different types, just like my mind. It has like Kanban boards built in. But as you might understand from me mentioning all of these features, there is a lot of things happening in Space Duck, and I found it really hard to like use the application just because there was so many clicks to get to where I wanted. Uh, it is an application I am keeping a close eye on because it is basically my dream application, like getting Milnote and getting and getting my mind would be like my dream application. So closely paying attention to that. Cosmic is another AI application where the point is that the AI will do things for you. Like the idea, I actually love the idea, think it's a great idea. Um, Still needs a lot of polish. Like a lot of bugs, feels more like a workspace application. Search isn't good enough yet. The AI stuff is actually really good, but I want them to nail like the basic stuff. We're talking about like arrows in the whiteboard. We're talking about like um the web browser working as it is supposed to, like YouTube videos playing, things like that. We are talking about like the ability to nest boards or organize your sidebar in some way. So many things like that I really want them to fix. I think they will. I am a big believer of Cosmic. It isn't currently, like, it is free during the beta, so you don't actually have to pay for it. I am currently actually using Cosmic as my daily driver just to see how it feels. I'm doing another video on it soon, so I wanted to test it out. If you're new to the podcast on the channel, uh, I tend to daily drive applications before I do like deep reviews on them. So that is what I'm doing with Cosmic. I am a big fan currently. I think it has so many good features and has amazing potential, but it needs to like get a lot of the basic stuff fixed, especially search and the ability to organize your boards. But search is probably the thing I would like to see improvements on the fastest, because I don't think the search is really good. It feels a lot like Milanote search, which I'm not a big fan of. But I think I've covered the main visual note taking apps. You have things like Napkin, which I'm not really sure about because it is it doesn't feel like a visual application. It just looks visual, but you can't do anything visual on it, if that makes sense. You have Constella, which I've struggled to figure out. It's this or interconnected graph of cards that uses AI to connect things together. I I really haven't been able to understand it yet. I think it is a good application because a lot of people are saying a lot of good stuff about it. It might be a little expensive from what I heard, but that is an application I will probably need to daily drive and review. But again, it feels more text-based than image-based, so not necessarily for me, but I will definitely check it out and dive deeper into it. So that is Constella. I think I've covered like the main ones. Not Cosmic, I've already mentioned Cosmic. Kinopio is another one which I need to like dive deeper into, but it looks really, really interesting. So a lot of stuff happening in the visual note-taking space. And I think this is the most interesting space. What I would really find interesting if someone was able to blend like visual note-taking and object-based note-taking. But I think like visual note-taking applications is probably the most interesting part about PKM and productivity applications right now. I think that is the one I'm most excited about. So I will actually quite soon, we are going into October, so around early November, I will start my like end of year videos. We are doing end of year reviews, we are doing tier lists, we are doing rankings, which means that I have a lot to do. But I will cover all of these applications in that video and even some more. I will cover things like Noti, which I recently did a video on, and I think they've improved a lot. I think they are still a little behind things like Heptabase, Squintle, and I will probably do a whole nother episode just on what's happening at Squintle. I tried to get them on the podcast. They didn't have time. I will try again because I feel like it is a little unfair that I sit here and talk. Uh, I wouldn't say negatively, because I'm not trying to like be negative towards them. I am more trying to like explain how I'm feeling about it and like give them constructive criticism. I'm hoping that they will fix the issues because Squintle could easily become my go-to application because it performs so well with text and so well with images. Uh, but it just feels a little messy. That's all. But basically, what I'm trying to say with this podcast episode is that the visual note taking space is looking so interesting. As usual, thank you so much for watching or listening. Most people just listen to this podcast episode. And if you have any questions, leave them down below. I will try to get to them as soon as I can. Thank you so much.